Joe Biden's impeachment is moving forward. They'll ultimately impeach him, I think, regardless of what they find. There was a story out today. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. That James Biden apparently was caught on tape talking to someone else. That other person was under investigation. This person had contracted with James Biden's lobbying firm for $100,000 back in '96, I think it was, and I can't remember exactly what the issue was, but the guy has explicitly said, like, I only hired him because he was Joe Biden's brother, which of course is exactly what everything on K Street is. But you will hear about this ad nauseum from 1996. And we should just let you know. But in the meantime, what are the charges? You remember the two specific charges in which the impeachment inquiry kicked off with. The first impeachment of Donald Trump, but obviously the second one was January 6th. The first one had to do with specifically his phone call to Ukraine, and there was fact-finding associated, but the theory was that this was a breach of his duty as president to undermine the policy that was passed by Congress for his own personal gain. And here, Representative Joe Neguse, he is a Democrat from Colorado, asked Representative Guy Reschenthaler, a Republican from Pennsylvania, at the House Rules Committee hearing, wait, now what exactly are the charges? Just so that we're clear on this, so that we know. And this is a pretty funny exchange.
I think the question I'm asking you is,
okay, go ahead.
What is the specific constitutional crime that you're investigating?
Well, we're having an inquiry, so we can do an investigation and control the production of witnesses.
And what is the crime you're investigating?
And documents. High crimes, misdemeanors, and bribery.
What high crime and misdemeanor are you investigating?
Look, I will, once I get time, I will explain what we're looking at, and I will make the equivalency.
No, I'm just asking you for
the last impeachment.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say, Mr. Reschenthaler, and again, I say this because I served as a prosecutor during the last impeachment of former President Trump. There was a specific high crime that he was impeached for on a bipartisan basis. 13 Republicans agreed. In 2019, when President Trump was impeached, there were two very specific offenses that he was impeached for. And I can't get an answer. I don't think members of the Oversight Committee can get an answer, or the Ways and Means Committee, or the Judiciary Committee. I don't think there is an answer. There's not, and of course it's unsurprising because according to even Fox News correspondents, House Republicans have been unable to make any kind of connection to a constitutional high crime and misdemeanor and President Biden. So I would say this, to make the argument that there is some similarity between, and I don't know if this is what you're suggesting, I hope it's not, between the various facts that you focused and zeroed in on with respect to President Biden and President Trump's conduct on January 6th. It's very clear to me the American people would reject that argument outright.
Whether it's justified.
There you go. Oh, gosh.
Jump scare.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty amazing that they still can't get it together to even name
high crimes.
A crime.
The biggest ones.
General crimes.
So looking at the big crimes.
Super crimes.
Yeah, because maybe if you're going to make a claim about, say, like corruption involving China or Ukraine, and you put up an example of 3 payments of around $1,400 from Hunter to Joe, repaying supposedly a Ford truck, but we all know what that stands for, that maybe people might roll their eyes at the idea that Biden...
Well, even I think what they should do is they should say, we're going to charge Joe Biden with the crime of selling himself short because he was a turncoat to this country for China.
Yeah.
For $4,200 that was his in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
but he just went through some shenanigans to get somebody to repay him back. He was out $4,200. And he's like, well, I know how to get that money back. I will sell out the country to China via my son, so he gets the $4,200 and puts that back in my pocket. Bingo, bango.
Yeah. I mean, and like, this is just why the Republicans pull better on the economy and being better for business. It's because, you know, Biden sells out the country to China for like, I don't know, less than $5,000.
Less than rent in most urban areas.
Yeah, and someone like Jared Kushner does it, you know, and he gets like over $1 billion deal from Saudi Arabia in
in the
exchange.
Middle East, Emma.
Yeah, so I mean, but like that's the point, though. It's just Republicans know how to do business better.
Here is Lindsey Graham. The real question is, you got Republican senators distancing themselves right now. The real question is, will a Lindsey Graham vote for impeachment in the Senate, or will he not when he's faced with doing it? Right now, he's going to maintain this position because he realizes the House looks like they're back crap crazy, and he's certainly not going to take it seriously until more information came out. I didn't realize it was $4,200. Whoa, that changes everything. But here he is now attempting to seem reasonable.
The other big story on Capitol Hill, the impeachment, of course, of impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Your colleague, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, said that he does not see any evidence, quote, that the president is guilty of anything. Do you agree with him? Is there any evidence?
I just want to remind you, Chuck Grassley was one of the people who was pushing the idea of a 402 form, a form that they found that the FBI had taken a complaint from someone, and the FBI had investigated the complaint and found it completely unsubstantiated. But this was the thing that Grassley was like, they must release the form. And when they started to press him, it was the form 1023. And when they ultimately said, okay, well, here it is, he's like, well, I've seen the form. And they need to release the form. Now, the form doesn't necessarily say anything, but it should be released. Like, they've gone through this. And I think Grassley realized, like, boy, we don't have anything to even pretend that we don't have any. I mean, it is so bad. But here's Graham. Continue.
Grassley of Iowa said that he does not see any evidence, quote, that the president is guilty of anything. Do you agree with him? Is there any evidence so far?
You know, I haven't really been paying that much attention to it. They have to prove that President Biden somehow financially benefited
What's he been doing?
Business.
Yeah.
What's he been doing? I haven't been paying attention. You haven't been paying attention to your party impeaching the president? Like, what have you been passing something?
Now, maybe he's just a little distracted by the genocidal crimes in Gaza like the rest of us, except he's just more looking at it with, you know, drooling every time he sees a Palestinian
But honestly,
death.
what is he? Yeah, my thumbs are hard because I've just been doing this so much. But what have they been doing? What have they been doing? Nothing. They haven't passed a single piece of legislation. They had 23 pieces of legislation they passed in the House all year.
He's got to go Christmas shopping for the family he doesn't have.
Go ahead.
Enterprises of Hunter Biden, we'll see.
Have they done it yet, in your mind?
If there were a smoking gun, I think we'd be talking about it. But, you know, the narrative that Hunter Biden presented is falling apart. The idea that Joe Biden knew nothing about the business dealing is falling apart. I'm not worried about impeaching the president right now. You know what I'm worried about? Helping the president bring the Mideast to a better spot, trying to convince the Arabs and the Israelis to not let Iran get you off track, give Israel the space to destroy Hamas. I'm trying to find a way forward to secure a broken border before we're attacked. That's what I'm more worried about than anything. I've never been.
Israel doesn't have the space to destroy Hamas. Any more space? They've taken basically all of Gaza.
You got to clear space, meaning clear out the people from Gaza.
This is Lindsey Graham trying to seem reasonable, and we'll see. We'll see what he does when it's time to actually vote in the Senate. If he is willing not to vote for Joe Biden's impeachment, I find it hard to believe, but we'll see.